Hey there. Have you ever asked yourself if you're prepared for the next Great Depression? Well, if not, stay tuned for this video because we're going to dive into just that subject. You may be asking yourself, why is this important? Why do I need to even worry about the next Great Depression? Well, if you're not paying attention to the news, you're not paying attention to what's going on, then you're not aware that we're having multiple bank collapses and they're talking about a couple hundred banks actually collapsing. What does that mean when a bank collapses? Well, that means that a company can't make its payroll. That means that people are going without getting paid, which means they can't pay their rent, which is going to exacerbate the homeless crisis. So the last Great Depression that we went through, there was a lot of different things. A lot of people tie it to a stock market crash, too much debt, a lot of different things like that. The history in which I've learned, and I'll give you a little bit more on this in another day, but just the history that I've learned is that this was part of the Federal Reserve's ploy because they created the Great Depression. If you go back through history, any economist will tell you that the Great Depression was caused by the Federal Reserve Bank and the way that they were manipulating interest rates. Okay, so we already know that, but they were doing this for what reason? Well, in I think it was 1932 or 33, the charter for the Federal Reserve was coming due, and so if there wasn't some sort of crisis to where they could provide their point of, hey, we're here to protect the economy, you need us, without us, it would all go to shambles. Okay, just like anybody else, a security company is going to sit there and say, see, look, I told you somebody was going to break into your place. Now that somebody has, are you willing to sit down and let me, handle your security for you? Okay, it's the same thing. So the last Great Depression was because of the Federal Reserve doing that. So why would we be going into, and why would we want to consider another Great Depression? Because the charter was renewed in 2012 for another 100 years. So the Federal Reserve has no incentive to create anything like this. Well, you know what the nice thing is when things go up, they must go down. You start at the bottom, you reach a pinnacle, and then from there you fall straight on your face, and it's a downward spiral. And we're at the top of the cycle and on our way down, and we're about to experience probably some of the craziest downturns that we've ever seen, probably something worse than the Great Depression. Because during the Great Depression, it had everything to do with the money supply versus just the global strife that we're seeing right now. So let's go ahead and delve into some things that you can do to prepare yourself for this possibility. And the first thing that you want to do to prepare yourself is prepare yourself for the possibility that you're going to lose everything. Now, I know a lot of you, about 40% of you that watch my videos are preppers. Another 30% of you are into homeless awareness, homeless education, which is what this channel is about. And for those of you who are new here, who don't know who I am Friar Tuck. Okay, so you understand that there is a possibility that you can lose everything. Okay, if you still owe a debt on your house, on your property, you can lose it. If you still owe a debt on your car and you can't make that payment, or the bank forecloses, or you lose insurance, which therefore forces the bank to foreclose. You may be a very productive citizen. You may have your ducks in a row. You may have savings, but sometimes even your savings may not prepare you. So, being prepared to be homeless, to lose everything, will do two things for you. One, it will allow you to, go down into a minimalist lifestyle and prepare to be homeless. Because, right now, just consider yourself, hey, look, I'm about to be homeless. If I'm housed, I'm about to be homeless. If I am homeless, I know that I'm probably not getting off the streets for quite some time. And if I do, it will be because I got a really good hustle on. And secondly, it gets you mentally prepared to detach from the things in which you have. Because even me, there may come a point in time where Sam and I have to separate, not because I want to, not because she wants to, not because of anything, but because circumstances require it, and it is in the best interest of both Sam and I. Okay? It's not in my best interest, it's not in Sam's best interest, it's in our mutual best interest. So therefore, by not allowing yourself, or to kind of at least consider the fact that you might lose the things in which you possess most, will at least allow you to start the grieving process and to kind of sever that attachment so that you're not worried about the long-term effects. Because what happens to a lot of people when they come homeless is that they weren't prepared for it. They didn't remove their detachment, and so the whole time that they're out here, they're so attached to the things that they have, and they were unable to let it go, that they get stuck in that position and they never get out. Okay. So the another thing that you can do to prepare for this, and this is something that I keep talking about a lot, is you need to prepare for a side hustle. Okay, whether the internet is always going to be up in some form or fashion. As long as the government is in existence, there will always be the internet, because one, it is a government project, a government plan, but two, this is how they are able to maintain their control, because without the internet, they cannot get these cameras up and running and all this other stuff so that they can monitor us. So I'm looking at the internet as something that's going to be here. Now, there may be strife and all kinds of other things that happen that cause pockets of the country to go without internet, but you will always be able to have internet in some form or fashion here in the United States. And I think that this is going to be something that will carry on even after this next world war is over. Okay, so having a side hustle, being able to work in the digital economy so that you can kind of make sure that you have at least some funds coming in, because it may cost you $100 for a loaf of bread. It may cost you $300 for a pack of hot dogs. It may cost you $1,000 for a Coke. Okay, and you may be making $500 an hour, and so therefore you got to work 2 hours for that Coke. But you need to be able to put yourself in a position and be prepared for it and know that you have some sort of income. And so starting a side hustle right now is probably one of the smartest things that you can do. Okay. And number 3, and I know it sounds a little weird, but when you're homeless, or even if you have the breakdown of city services like water, trash, all this stuff, and you've got the trash piling up in the streets, you still need to, one, be able to deal with hygiene, but it's not just about hygiene. When you first come outside not being able to take a shower every day after you're used to being able to take a shower, I remember at one point in time, and this actually worked against me, I used to take 2 showers a day sometimes, especially during the summers, because I hate sweating. But you know what? When I went outside, I wasn't able to shower for a week. Well, you know what? There's some stuff that happened to my body, because in the same way that using too much of these hand sanitizers weakens your immune system, washing your body too much weakens your body and your skin and its natural defenses that nature gave it. So, taking 2 and 3 days between showers and learning how to keep your smell down, how to be able to re-wear clothes and to be able to stretch them out, because, water may be contaminated, your food supply may be contaminated in these different things. So you need to be prepared for that. And these are the top 3 things that you can do to prepare for the next Great Depression, because we are not dependent on the farm like we were over 100 years ago. We are now dependent on the cities and on the supply chain and the just-in-time supply chain. And when that goes away, it's going to create havoc. The reason why we're able to have such a large population is because of all of this. Okay, so just to recap real quick, the 3 things that you need to do, or that you should do, if you want to prepare yourself for the next Great Depression. 1, you want to prepare yourself to be homeless. 2, you want to get yourself a side hustle, so if you are homeless, you've got at least some money coming in so you don't have to beg. And 3, you need to get your body prepared for the possible hygiene shock that you're about to experience should anything happen to either the supply chain or our basic infrastructure. Now, I know that there are some of you that may detract and say, oh, this will never happen. The United States is strong. The United States is this, and the United States is that, and it'll never happen here again. Okay, we could sit there and put our heads in the sand. But what happens if you're wrong? It's the same thing about religion. We can sit there and talk till we're blue in the face. I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. Well, you don't actually know until that day and that moment comes what exactly happens to you. We can sit there and create religions and speculate about what happens and say this guy said this, and I could say Billy Meyer and you could say Jesus Christ and someone could say Allah and all these other people. Okay, But at the end of the day, we don't know until it actually happens. Would you rather be prepared, or would you rather be not prepared and stuck going through probably what is going to be one of the hardest times in your life, that you are going to regret not being prepared because you're going to be starving, you won't be able to support yourself, your body's going to be turning against you because of hygiene, you were attached to things, so therefore you're wallowing, and therefore you're going to be stuck out there. And is that really a decision that you would willfully make for yourself? So take a moment and consider, being prepared for something like this, and at least taking this into consideration. In conclusion, prepping for the next Great Depression is paramount. It is important. It is here. It is upon us. If you are not prepared, you should have already been prepared. But for those that aren't prepared, or that would like to shore up their preparations for the next Great Depression, these are some things that are actionable, that are practical, and that are realistic. That if you were going to be homeless, I would tell you to do these things anyways. So at least, with the next Great Depression, we had a large percentage. I've read reports as high as like 10%. I've heard somebody say, like 3% was homeless. But imagine that being tenfold. Okay, even if it was 3%, you've got 30% tenfold. Okay, because we are no longer dependent on the farm and the land. We are dependent on the supply chain. So don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, and I would definitely love to hear your preparations, or if you would like to add anything to this, down in the comment section. Don't forget to share. Everything else is down in the description, and I will see you in the next video.